everyone, welcome back to another full moon collective reading. Today we have a full moon happening in the sign of Capricorn. And I think there's no better time than right now to have this full moon. I don't think it's a coincidence that it lands mid-year, where it's good to sit down and reflect on our manifestations, what we've been building, what we've been creating, putting our energy into, working on what we've been cultivating here in this 3D dense reality that we are living in. So yeah, it's a perfect time for that mid-year check-in to just reflect back on the last 6 months, to take stock of where you're at. How far have you come, to appreciate how far you've come. Maybe there are things around this time that are kind of coming to a completion point that you're seeing manifest, you're seeing it materializing. One of your goals could be realized during this time, especially if you started something back in December, late December, around when we had the new moon in Capricorn. Something around that time could be coming to a close. We could see things wrapping up. We can be seeing like the end of a cycle, or we could be getting sudden closure about something. I'm going to go ahead and link the reading, the collective reading I did for the new moon in Capricorn back in December, because much of those themes are very, very relevant for this moon cycle. Being that was the new moon in Capricorn and this is the full moon in Capricorn, I think a lot of that energy is definitely connected, and it's a good time to kind of reflect on those things. What we talked about in that reading, what came out in the collective reading, is very, very relevant. So I definitely recommend, if you guys have some extra time, to go check that reading out at some point, because I think it could be very helpful for you guys at this time as well. But yeah, this is a time where we can reflect on how our past has built our current situation and will continue to build our future. So, you can reflect on what your past actions have been. Like, what was it that built where you are now? How far have you come? This is so good to do to gain clarity and perspective about how you can continue to move forward. Kind of like use this moon cycle as a checkpoint. We're creating space right now to see what we're doing, how we're contributing to the goals we want to create for ourselves, to what we want to build, what we want to experience, so that we can create practical steps and solutions to get there. It's a time that's very supportive of being optimistic and being able to see the possibilities, to see that what you want or what you need to feel successful is absolutely possible and is within reach. And being able to reflect on these things and just seeing how far we've come can give us that little boost that we need to feel good about what we're creating and what we're building, so that we can continue to move forward. So like I already mentioned, I feel like we could be having a full circle moment right now. We could be seeing a completion of something, getting clarity about something, getting closure about something. Or it's just a time for us to make adjustments, to place boundaries if we feel that we need boundaries, to make cuts, to put ourselves more on the path of success. It's also a really good time, and I touched on this in the new moon in Capricorn reading, but it's a really good time to reflect and observe if your internal state matches your external reality. And if not, how can you make it match? How can you create that kind of stability? What can you do to create progress in this material realm while also being connected to what makes you feel like life is exciting and fun and adventurous and worth waking up to and living every single day? So yes, it's important for us to be responsible and, have our routines, have our schedules, be disciplined, work on things, build things over time. But it's also important to be lit from within and feel happy about your life and what you're doing. So yes, we're building something up slowly, but we're doing it happily and confidently and with the right intentions. So this is a really good time for us to just get clarity and know exactly what it is that we have to do to get to where we want to get to. We can get clarity on what certain patterns, certain habits that we may have, what these things actually produce. Now that we kind of have this advantage of being able to look in retrospect, we can see what have those cycles, those patterns created. And is there anything that we need to adjust, anything that we need to remove, any self-made constraints that are blocking our freedom and success, and how can we bring these things back into alignment so that we can set ourselves up for success moving from this point forward. Okay, so big reflection energy, big checkpoint energy. Like I said, that's why there's no coincidence why this full moon lands right in the mid-year, because it's a perfect time for us to do this, to assess and make sure that we're on the right track and we're happy with how things are, where everything's going. And if we're not happy, it's about having that clarity and then adjusting accordingly. So if you've stuck with me and have been watching these readings for at least the last 3 to 4 moon cycles, then you'll find that card very familiar. I was like cracking up when that card came out. It was the first card to come out. It like flew out. You want it to come out again. This is the 4th time that card has come out for these collective moon cycle readings. It's the Sacred Medicine card. So that's funny. And I think we also got it with this card. Like, these 2 cards have come out together before. It's the Sacred Medicine card and the Sexual Wisdom card. And so I just wanted to pull another one, just to have something like a new card, a new energy. And we got the Baba Yaga card, Patience, which I think is all very fitting. And it's funny too, because I've been thinking about this reading all day. I've been kind of really looking forward to doing it. And I was like, I wonder if the Devil card is going to come out. I bet you the Devil card is going to come out. And lo and behold, there it is. It came out, which is perfect. The Devil card is Capricorn energy. And a lot of my personal readings, I feel, have been touching on that Capricorn energy. There's so much to say about that energy, but we'll see what Spirit wants us to focus on today. I haven't really taken a look at the cards just yet, but I can see that we have a lot of strong, powerful energy here, which is not surprising. Okay, so let's get into it. Like I already mentioned, it's a time for us to really assess what it is that is going to make us happy, that is going to make us feel fulfilled and successful, and being able to put everything in its proper place, take the right actions that is going to align you, to merge you with what you would consider to be like your ultimate fulfillment, your ultimate goal. And you're going to find, that this isn't all like peaches and cream. You're probably going to find that there are things that need readjusting. There are maybe some problematic behaviors or habits or just things that you're consumed by that isn't beneficial or contributing to what you want to create for yourself, and is influencing you in a negative way and holding you back and like blocking you and keeping you stuck. So I think these things are really coming up to the surface. Those things that make you feel defeated, that, kind of has a hold over you, kind of has you under its thumb. These are the things that we want to bring to the light so that we can address it and learn how to overcome it, learn how to liberate ourselves from those constraints and from those restrictions that these bad habits create for us. Because this is how we become master manifestors. And I love the Capricorn energy because, unbeknownst to a lot of people, Capricorn is actually a very spiritual placement. I feel like a lot of people probably, rightfully so, associate Capricorn to just like the 3D material world and like building stuff up and climbing, slow and steadily climbing that ladder till you get to the peak, staying committed and disciplined to gain some kind of tangible result. Capricorn rules the 10th house, and the 10th house has to do with our status, what we do for work, our career, what we're known for. So like your success, what you've built for yourself or what you're building for yourself. So it's a sign that's very practical and earthy and like concerned with our material world, our material reality, what's right in front of us, matter. So because of that, because it's associated to those things, I feel like a lot of people lose sight that Capricorn is also very, very spiritual, because I think it's like the highest rite of passage to be able to funnel down those spiritual principles into this dense material world. Because usually it comes with a lot of lessons, hard lessons, things that were obstacles. Saturn is all about doing the hard work. It rules over time. So it talks about things that take a long time to create, to build up, a lot of effort, a lot of hard work, which I think can also be compared to the spiritual process and spirituality, which I think is a side to Saturn and to Capricorn that a lot of people don't really acknowledge or see. They don't really associate Capricorn to being a very like spiritual place in the zodiac or a very spiritual energy, but I think it's one of the most spiritual energies for those reasons, because it has like that capability of turning lead into gold. You know, it signifies like that alchemical process, that long-term journey that produces real, tangible, solid results. So when you can take something as amorphous as, you know, like spirituality or intuition, and you can actually give it form and build something and create with it, you know, like pull that energy down and make it solid, that's like the most spiritual thing that we can do. I feel like that's why so many spiritual masters and gurus and teachers are actually earth signs, because it's like we can bridge that gap between heaven and earth. So yeah, I think that's definitely heavily being shown here, depicted here. And yeah, it's just like I said, it's time to reflect, to look back, to gain clarity, to be real with ourselves, you know? It's like time to be real honest with ourselves and see where are our shortcomings. Like, what did we invest in that just didn't work, that hasn't been working, that we haven't been seeing much results from? Where is it that we haven't been seeing growth? And it's something that maybe we're giving energy to. So we kind of have to see, because we're only allotted like a certain amount of energy. So we have to be very intentional about how we use our energy, how we utilize it. So it's time to be real honest and like to make these adjustments. What do we have to do to see this flourish and blossom, you know? And yeah, we're definitely getting that clarity of like what just isn't working, what is at a standstill, a stalemate, a dead end. There's like no flow of energy. What is it that we do need to cut off? So it's like, where do we need to adjust? But again, also, where do we need to place boundaries? Where do we need to make cuts? All of these things apply. I think all of us need to do these things in different areas. It's going to manifest in different, you know, areas of our lives for each of us. So definitely check your birth chart and see like where Capricorn lands in your birth chart, so that you can get more of an understanding and a clear picture of where this is going to happen for you. So for example, for me, Capricorn is in my 6th house. So some themes that maybe I'm going to notice in this time is making adjustments around my daily routine, my daily schedule, my fitness routine, my health routines, my work routines, and just where is it that I need to make adjustments, cuts, place boundaries as it pertains to just like my everyday life, my everyday reality. I could have to reflect on what is a time waster, what am I doing that isn't working for me? Like recently, I noticed that there was like a protein powder that I was using that wasn't feeling good for me. It was making me bloated and it was breaking me out. And so I just recently like switched it out to another one that I know does feel good for me, that doesn't make me bloat and I know is super clean. So it's basically about what actions need to change to get more of the result that I want from now on. You know, these are just examples, but depending on where it lands in your birth chart, just look up that house and like the themes that pertain to that house, and then you can kind of get a better understanding of how you can work with this energy better, where this energy is being highlighted for you, how it could potentially manifest for you. So that's always an option if you wanted to kind of like go a little bit deeper. And I think we definitely touched on this in the last reading, but it's coming up here again, where there are things that we're committed to that isn't working for us anymore. We have to see like what we're loyal to, what it is that we have committed ourselves to, or like what commitments do we have? Do we have any contracts or certain responsibilities that are not doing anything for us, that are limiting us, holding us back, not letting us grow? It is time to rebel against those things so that you can break free from it and be able to expand. And yeah, it's just basically telling us that this is a time right now where we just need to kind of take a moment to reflect on where we're at, what we've created and built thus far, and if we're happy the way that things are going, or if anything needs adjusting. It's just a time to kind of like get clarity so that we can bring balance and put ourselves more on track with what it is that we want. So it is a time to like take chances, to take risks, to try something different if you think it's needed to get curious about trying different things. If like you see that something isn't working, just try something else. It's all about trial and error at the end of the day, and just trying to figure out what works best for ourselves. Like, there is no prescribed way that we can reach success. I feel like this is something that we're learning collectively, where once upon a time it was kind of like there was this step-by-step of like, well, this is what you have to do. This is the blueprint for success. And then people are seeing that like actually they're completely unhappy. They have mental health issues. They're living lives that are not true to themselves, doesn't reflect their values, their, uniqueness, their interests, their gifts, because it's very like disconnected. So we're learning like that success isn't like just this one thing, that there's actually so many different ways to be successful, and it just depends on the person and what they prioritize, what they value, where they're at in their lives, and what makes them feel good. So success is something different and something unique for everyone, and it's kind of like finding what it is for you, how it wants to express itself through you. And again, like the highest rite of passage of spirituality is being able to match your internal state with your external world and create something out of what comes through spiritually, and what comes through your intuition, and what comes through, your heart, and like who you really are, and what it is that you really do want to create. And how can you create with that and build with that and bring that down, funnel that down into this dense 3D reality? What is it that we have to cut away from? What beliefs are holding us back? Traditions. This is like generational stuff. Like, maybe you're afraid of being judged, or afraid of being outcasted, or, afraid of like going against something. Like, for example, a big one is like religion. I remember when I first started questioning my religion, how looked down upon that was. Of like, oh my gosh, you're questioning it, and I would have valid questions, and like no one wanted me to even question. It was like, no, like you just accept this. You don't have to know why, you just accept it because it is what it is, and that's what we do. And it's just like, no, like I need answers. There are things that aren't really aligning or making sense for me. It seems restricting, it seems limiting, because it can be, but it can also be something that's very liberating, depending on like how you practice it and how you relate to it. So yeah, there's definitely something coming through about that here, where it's like being able to align and to merge with your truth. It's like having a higher awareness about something. It's like you have a higher awareness, and so you can't continue how you've been doing things. Like you can't continue in the way that you have been anymore, because it just, better now, or you're like, you have a higher awareness, a higher consciousness about something. And so now it's like, it's clear to you where it is that something isn't working. And now it's a matter of like finding the solution to bring it into balance, and to make it make sense, to like integrate this new awareness into your life and into your actions and what you do, so that you can stay true to yourself. It's when we're staying true to ourselves, living in our truth and in alignment with our values, that we're our most happiest. People that are unhappy or depressed, it's because like we can't reconcile the expectations of this material world and what makes us feel happy inside. And again, it is trial and error. It can be a long journey to get there. That's what Saturn represents and what Capricorn represents. And it's also to be careful, not to get too entrenched in this material world, because Capricorn is all about, building in the material world. It does place an emphasis and an importance on the material world, because there is one. We live in it, we can't like bypass that fact. So it is important, but we have to remember that it's not the only thing that exists. So many people, that's where they make the mistake, is like believing that this is the only thing that's real. What you can taste, touch, see, and feel is the only thing that's real. And when you live your life like that, putting that much of an emphasis on your material world to the point that like this is the only thing that's real for you, that's when you've been consumed by the Maya, by the illusion, because there's so much more to life than just this material world, right? That's what spirituality is. That's where, that all comes in, is exploring like that other side So you have to be careful, like not to get consumed by this material world, but be able to not get consumed by the material world while still being a part of it and creating in it and building in it, but not being attached to it and not being consumed by it, knowing that this isn't the only thing that's real. Energy is very real. Karma is very real. Spirituality, intuition, emotions, and it all plays a role into like our happiness and what level of fulfillment and bliss that we have access to. So it's understanding that those aspects are so important, and learning how to access our hearts and learning how to relate to this world around us, to commune with, our environments, nature, people, to be in relation at all times, because we are. It isn't only about working and building and status and money and whatever, That's why those things are never enough. It's like you can be the richest person, the most successful person, and you see a lot of those people are still miserable or have some serious problems because it's not enough. You think that something in the material world is going to satisfy something or cure something, heal something, fulfill something forever, and it always turns out like it's not the case. There's still a void. So it's being able to fill that void by looking inside, by going within, because nothing in this material world can ever fill it. Only God can fill it. Your relationship to God, to the divine, to yourself, to your heart, living out your truth, being in alignment with your truth, merging with your dharma, living out your purpose, being liberated from the things that bind you and control you and consume you. That's fulfillment. That's where fulfillment lies, and the only place that you can really acquire that is inside of yourself. Anything that's promising you that kind of fulfillment in the external, it's a trap, it's a trick, it's not true. So it's kind of like having like that bigger picture understanding, that higher level perspective of these truths, so that you can gain clarity then on like what it is that you do need to do, what actions you do need to make to bring things more into balance, into alignment, to, again, like support yourself, to create a better reality that's going to get you closer to living out your dharma, which is like, should be, well, not really, I shouldn't say it like that either. For me, it's my highest, like there's nothing more important than that, in my opinion. For me, there's nothing more important than like building up spiritually. Nothing can ever take that away from you. And all we are is energy, and energy can never be created nor destroyed. It can only be transmuted and shifted. It can only, change forms. So I feel like what we build up spiritually stays with us. And I think it plays a big role too in like your reincarnations and like the karmas that you have to work out in your next lives. It's like whatever karma you're working out now, having to work out now, that's presented itself now, it's stuff that you've created maybe from past lives or from past situations. There are always consequences to our actions, whether good or bad. So that's why like our choices, our decisions, it builds our actions, which in turn builds our karma. So we have to be very like intentional about what it is that we are creating and how it is that we are contributing to our life. So with these cards coming out here, we talked about this sacred medicine card, which is like a health card to me. It could be talking about that you need more conventional medical treatments or interventions, or maybe you can start exploring like alternative treatments, or you can kind of have like a mixture of both. So health is definitely important. Okay, you guys, just make sure your health is on point. We talked about this. Health is wealth. Health is important. Okay, it's number one. Our physical material bodies that we have that's carrying us in this life is also important, that we learn how to take care of it, so that it can always be functioning to the best of its ability as it carries us through life. So we have to make the best decisions for ourselves, the best choices for ourselves, because if not, we're creating like a karma that we're gonna have to deal with, that's gonna like play itself out. If you have poor habits, this is what builds disease. It happens over time. So definitely take a look at that Take a look into like your habits, what it is that you're doing. Is there anything you need to cut out? Is there anything you need to place a boundary over? Any adjustments you need to make? Do you need to add anything in? Are you going to try something new? Is there something that's been bothering you? This is like a reminder to get it checked out and to address it, to do what it is that you have to do. And then with the sexual wisdom card, I would say again, like devil energy can manifest itself through having poor sexual choices or poor sexual alliances. Maybe, you're having too much sex, you're abusing it, or maybe you're not having enough sex. I don't know. Maybe you're repressing it. Either one of those is bad because, it's all about a balance. So take stock, we are sexual beings. So sexuality is something that's very natural and very important to us and to our health, I think, to have like a healthy sexual life. So see, like, how can you balance that out? Is there something that you need to do? Do you need to maybe take a break? Do you want to be celibate for a while? Do you need to like cleanse yourself? Or do you need to kind of step out a little bit and explore more in that area and not feel ashamed about, like your sexuality and feeling sexual and wanting to be sexual, knowing that that's a natural part of our expression and it should be explored and it should be enjoyed if you are in the right situation where that can be a reality, So again, this is highlighting for you to take time to reflect on that, to reflect like on your sex life. And maybe it's even literally saying the health of your sexual organs. Do your research, whether you're a man or a woman, like how can you support the health of your sexual organs? And how can your sex life maybe become a little more balanced, a little more healthy? What is it that you need to do? Are there some boundaries that you need to put up? Is there anything that you need to cut out? Are there any adjustments that need to be made? And with the Baba Yaga card, Patience, I feel like this is a perfect card for this time, patience, because Capricorn talks about time, not taking any shortcuts. This is not an energy where you want to take shortcuts. This is the energy that tells you that you have to work, that things happen gradually, things develop gradually, things happen over the long haul, over a long process. And it's being able to like commit to that and stay disciplined and continue to show up and to do the work that it takes to like better something. If you see like something is out of alignment and you do need to make changes and this and that, it's like knowing that you can't do it all overnight. Things happen slowly. It's being able to surrender to that and to be patient. And because we co-create with the universe, so it's not only us. Like, yes, our actions do matter. We do need to make decisions. We do need to make choices. It's not like we just put our hands up, and just tell God like, okay, God, just you do all the work and I'll just float here. Take me where I need to go. It's like we do need to participate. So it's trusting that you're doing your part and spirit is doing their part, and trusting that everything is coming into alignment exactly as it needs to. Everything is happening in divine timing, and it's surrendering to that and having the patience to see like the positive results of any adjustments or boundaries that you need to place or cuts that you need to make. And it's kind of like putting an emphasis on those things. Okay, you guys, so I think that's all I'm getting here. Stuff with partnership could be important. It's just another message I'm getting like last minute here, that stuff with partnership could be important. Maybe right now there's like a lot of breakups happening or something, because that's what I'm seeing. It's like getting out of commitments that are just not serving you, that maybe are serving as like an energy drain, as like an energy vampire, cutting things out that just don't serve, cutting contracts, commitments that aren't in alignment, so that you can get to a place where you're truly happy and where you truly feel good. And, getting yourself to a place where you can be sovereign, you can be your own person. Maybe some of us, like, we're badly negatively influenced by the relationships that we're in or surrounded by. And, we need to have like that courage and that power to just be able to cut ties, to be ourselves, to be our own person, to think about ourselves, and to be more independent, to like learn how to meet our own needs, be self-sufficient, and not be codependent. anymore to anything, to people, to environment, work, food, whatever it is, like to cut those things off, to cut anything that's negative, to cut any addictions and unhealthy attachments. This is the time to do it. So it's being able to like make those judgment calls and taking those right actions so that we can clear everything we need to clear that's in the way of us properly being able to love ourselves and to love our lives, love our existence, and to be able to have like a really high quality experience. Okay, you guys, so those were our messages. I truly hope these messages have served you. Again, if you have some time, check out the new moon in Capricorn reading. I think it somehow like connects to this energy here. Like, so something maybe from that time, from that energy, it's like maybe it's coming into like a completion point right now where something could be coming full circle. You could be getting closure on something. So check it out at some point. I think it could be helpful. Okay, thank you so much for being here with me today and for watching. I hope you take advantage of this energy and you truly enjoy it. Take good care of yourselves. Big hugs. And until next time, bye.